Guys, what's up? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys jumping on. I love you too. We've been talking for a long time and interfacing. And John, I trip over you at GutterCon and 2 years in a row. Tim, I've missed you there, but we talk on the phone, and I'm excited that you guys are on this. We're doing a Gutter School podcast. I want to introduce both of you quickly, and then I'd like to just hand the mic to you and allow you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll follow through at the end and give my little elevator speech. But we have Tim Crouch. He's with Gutter Growth. He's the CEO. He does synergize with John on this, and I'll let Tim talk about that. But Tim, thank you for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, Frank? How you guys doing? What's up, John?
What's up, Tim?
Not too much, man. Yeah, man. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the gutter industry for 20 years. I started when I was 18 years old. I was a personal trainer, and one of my trainers was a gutter guy. Things went south at the gym I was at, so I ended up becoming a gutter guy. Did that for like 5 years at a company, and eventually ended up getting on my own. And I met John, and he helped me market Gutter Professionals, a company I founded 10 years ago. We grew it tremendously, especially after I hooked up with John. And yeah, man, basically I sold the company about 5 months ago.
Congrats
and I
on
started Gutter Growth.
Yeah, congrats.
That must feel good, right? That's a nice life changer, life turn, milestone.
Yep. Slowed things down a little bit, and now I get to focus on this. So
Nice.
And it kind of puts me back in line where I started at training. Now I'm just training gutters.
Sure. Well, you've been making a name for yourself, and a lot of guys in the gutter space know your face and your name. Same thing with Jon Majak, CEO of Mr. Pipeline. John, you have a wonderful thing going. John and I kind of operate in the same space in some respects with SEO, and so I admire what you do, and obviously we've been chatting and I've had many a conversation on what we do. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, John?
Frankie, pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. It's awesome being here, spending time with you and Tim. And being with Tim like 10 years ago, it's crazy to see him actually start from the bottom and get to that level of like circle. It's like, I've been through a lot of things in being the owner of Mr. Pipeline. It's our 11th year in business. He was with us right when we started. So to see, he's one of those few people that took it from absolutely nothing, that tripped and stumbled along the way, made a ton of mistakes. To see him come full circle, it's admirable, like you said. So
Yeah.
And if anybody's listening right now and you're trying to sell your business or you're in that space, like, just know it's something you have to earn. It's not given. And just keep charging forward one day at a time and put one foot in front of the other, and hopefully everything works out, So,
Well said, John.
yeah, man, I sold my first business. So I guess to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I've been in the home service space my entire life. It's all I know. I've been writing my own paycheck for over 25 years, give or take. And it's from door knocking and pressure washing to landscaping, painting, you name it. That's what I've done my whole life. And I tripped and stumbled for a while, just like Tim, Frank, I'm sure. Same with you, right?
Of course.
I tripped and stumbled and ended up building a 7-figure pressure washing business back when pressure washing really wasn't even a real industry, and learned how to systematize things and productize things. And before you know it, we sold the business, and I stumbled into Mr. Pipeline. Like, I had no intentions on being here or doing this. I just had a real skill set with like not doing things that I did a lot of things that didn't work. And then I started figuring out how to hit the bullseye. And once I hit the bullseye, I went all in on all those channels. And after I sold my old business, Power Clean, people just started saying like, hey, can you help me market my home service business? And it was a pool company, right? And then a painting business. And before you know it, I've got like 3 clients, and here we are somehow 11 years later, and proud to say we market for hundreds of the industry leading home service providers. And it's been quite the journey, but it's been a blessing.
It's awesome. It's amazing what you could do in 10 years, right? Like, a decade is a lifetime in this world as an entrepreneur. You could get so much done.
And I think I
Sure
met
is.
John on a cold call. I think he cold called me.
Is that right? Yeah, he's trying to kick the door in on you.
Yeah,
You already know.
I had a Town Square Interactive. I think was doing my marketing, and they really sucked.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
And I think the pitch was like, listen, I'm John. I'm not gonna screw you over, right? And I promise I'll suck a lot less than Town Square. So give me a shot.
John called you at a weak moment.
Yeah,
Always the best salesmen always do, right? They get
they
you at
do.
That's right.
that weak spot when you need them.
That's it.
So real quick on me, some of you know who I am. Some of you are just tuning in for the first time. I'm a 20-year vet. I got into the business in 2003. Much like a lot of guys, you know, Tim's story was serendipitous. So was mine. I hear the same story again and again. I kind of fell into it as well. I had a good buddy that I used to lift weights with at night, and we both had rain gutter needs. So I had my girlfriend's parents that needed it on their house. They put the task on me and said, vet the contractors, because I had a construction background. So I didn't know anything about rain gutters really, and so I did the homework on them, and then I realized the profit margins, and I'm like, wow, I mean, these guys wound up doing the job, you know, within a few hours, and I did the math, I'm like, they walked away with over $1,000, and you know, this was 20 years ago. So long story short, I jumped into the business. I left a 6-figure job, white collar, you know, suit and tie, driving a BMW, thought I was hot shit at 25. And IT sales. I was selling web-based development when it just started to become a thing. People were moving over from software to custom, all web-based. And I worked for 2 different boutique firms, one after the other. One recruited me away from the other one. And I came from an IT recruiter background out of college. So I had this, I knew I had the tongue and I could talk the language. I wasn't a coder per se, but I knew enough to sell it. So that was my background before Gutters. And so obviously I picked up a book on HTML for dummies and built my first website. And, you know, there's so many things you just kind of take on the chin and do yourself. So I'm 20 years in. Obviously, I don't do just rain gutters. A lot of you guys know that I'm into drainage heavily. I'm also a roofer. I've evolved my business. It's very easy to scale that way because you have the same customer base, the same client base. The same people have the same needs. So if they're trying to capture water off the roof, they probably are trying to control that water when it hits the ground and put it into ground drains or beautify the yard. So one project leads to the next when you market the right way. So I've built 3 strong brands in my local services area. Just like Tim said, I'm trying to slow things down. I'm a few years older than you guys. I'm 46 now. I'm on my second marriage, and I just had two other kids. I have a 10-year-old daughter from my first marriage. So now I have a 2 and a 3-year-old. So I am busy. I have bags under my eyes. I'm tired, and it's time for a change. But back to like how much you could get done in a year or 5 years or 10 years, I knew in the back of my mind, I always knew I was going to do GutterApp. It was something I just put on the back burner. I'm like, I got to make that money first. Let me build these local services companies and get that cash flow. So we've done that, and just everything hit with the little ones now, and I'm like, now's the time. And so, I just pivoted, and now I haven't walked away from the local services yet. So I'd love to sell. I get my door knocked on all the time, but I got to find the right buyer. I'm not going to give it away for a song. I'm really particular on, not to mention that revenue stream is paying for this amazing app that we're building. So I'm kind of in the SHIT right now, right? They're just grinding, and grinding is like the name of the game at this point. So
Frank, do you have 3 different brands? Do you market at 3 different?
Yes, I have three distinct brands. We leverage obviously a lot of the same technology, but Connecticut Gutter is mine. That's my baby. That's my 20-year-old legacy brand, my rain gutter company. And then my wife and I have Connecticut Stormwater Authority, also leveraging that Connecticut presence. And then we have Greenwich Roofs, and Greenwich is the town I live in. It's hyper-local. I'm very selective on what I pick up for roofing work. I'm not just trying to do high volume, grab at anything. It's very, very particular. Generally high-end cedar, slate, a lot of copper work, copper standing seam. We do a lot of asphalt shingle too, but the margins have to be there. It usually comes to us if there's some particular nuances to the job that are a little bit more complicated than Joe Schmo, get her done roofing guy.
Does the slate and the wood shake, does that bring you a lot of copper work?
It does. It goes hand in hand. We've really developed an amazing team with copper. That all started from doing copper gutter, but that evolves. Use the same guys, and they're artists. It's artistry. It's straight up art, and if they're paying for a cedar roof, especially with the quality of cedar or the lack thereof these days, they're prematurely cutting cedar. Canada was like the biggest producer of cedar shake, and what happened is you keep cutting trees down and you plant new ones. You get into a cycle where you're cutting immature trees down, and the cedar is just not hard enough. It's not as robust. So, people that are buying cedar roofs, it's a money play. They're strictly doing it for the aesthetic and to show the bling on the house. It's not a good bang for the buck. It's the worst roof you could buy. But if they're doing it, they want that copper work to look money. They want some copper standing seam aprons and some really flashy chimney work and open valleys and all of that.
The cedar has an acid in it, and that acid eats aluminum.
Immediately.
Yeah, I did a lot of super gutter changeouts because the cedar shake roof, the water would set in the super gutter, and it would end up hitting it in like 5 years.
Yeah.
They ended up banning it in our area.
It's a copper tins, highly acidic. And you can only play with copper, but people don't. Around here, it's all high-end res, so they kind of know that. People are hip to it, but I've seen it all. I've seen aluminum drip edge on cedar roof. It's like, oh my God, what's going on here? But anyway, to get to it, I mean, we brought you guys in, and everybody's got so much to share. We created a little structure, right? We have some topics we want to cover. We want to sort of move swiftly to keep us to task and to make this an hour window or so that our audience could enjoy it but not have to watch it all day. And you guys have so much to share. So I think we want to just dive right in. And one topic that we really are interested in hearing from you guys on is industry trends and challenges. And that's wide open for interpretation. Everybody's got a difference of opinion on this. But why don't we just go around the room, start with you, John. Trends and challenges. It could be anything that comes to mind for you.
The first thing that comes to mind is, I think everybody has the loaded term these days is certainly AI, right? Thinking about innovation and the future of marketing and the gutter business and what that looks like. And I really think that this in the game, my best advice is leverage it. Figure out how to just get your feet wet in it. Like, don't avoid it, because this is the future. And for everybody who's listening, I'll give you one quick action item if I could. And I give it to everybody I want to call with, because I don't know where to start, John. And I say, first you got to download the app, or you got to get into OpenAI. And here's my first task. If you're sending out a newsletter, right, on a monthly basis, just run that newsletter through ChatGPT, because the ultimate intent of a newsletter is driving engagement. Right. You're ultimately not trying to sell anything. You're trying to just be top of mind and drive that forward. So run your content through ChatGPT and make a prompt that says you want it to increase your engagement with your customer base. Let them know who you are, what your brand voice is, where you're located. And you know what's wild? I tasked six people recently with this. Everyone came back with the same thing. I've increased my customer engagement rate close to 25%. Everybody was 20 to 25%. And that's just like, it's so little. It's so easy to do. So don't overthink it. The first thing you should do is start driving things forward through AI, right?
Yeah, 25% is huge. For you guys that don't know your numbers, like 5% is huge. 25% is astronomical.
It's massive. It's massive. And industry trends, I feel like everybody needs to be on Google. You need to own Google. I think, Frank, Tim, you guys know that. At the end of the day, that's where Mrs. Jones is at. So in marketing, there's pushing marketing. Facebook it's effective, but it's quote unquote push marketing. So Mrs. Jones could be at a stoplight, could be at the house, or could be just cooking dinner and flipping through her phone, and she runs into an advertisement for a gutter business. There's a high chance she's going to keep scrolling because she's not thinking about that at all. Right. So it does work, and those costs per leads are a lot lower. So don't disqualify it, right? Test it, and you want to do a lot of split testing to see if it's effective. But I always tell people, get into the marketing side of things, where Mrs. Jones has water running all down the side of her house, right? Like she's got a busted gutter. She needs the side of her house is all flooded. That's where you want to be, because that's where you can sell high tickets. That's where you're in front of your perfect avatar, and that's pull marketing. She's searching for gutter repair near me or gutter installation, and that's where everybody should be thinking about if they're looking to grow a business north of 500,000.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. AI is great for a lot of stuff. You can use it for writing ads to hire people. You can use it for social media posts, writing articles. I mean, it's almost endless what you could do with it. I'm starting to incorporate a lot myself.
I use it a lot myself. I know my staff does. It just speeds things up, right? You just get to things faster. Proofreading, just anytime you're creating a ton of copy. By the way, for you guys that are trying to grow, I don't care what realm it is, it's copy, content creation. Even if it's, you're strictly local services and you're not doing B2B like we are, you have to create a ton of content for your audience, and you need to be relevant and ever-changing, and they just need to look at you like, whoa, every day this guy's on a new job, and he's pumping it out, and he's showcasing it. AI helps with all of that because you got to write copy for it to support it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like in the gutter industry, content creation is really lacking. Like if a gutter company nails that, none of their competitors are doing it. Okay. So if they really nail that, they're going to nail it, and they're going to pick up the market. They should be posting every day.
I completely agree, and that's going to change, right? That's going to be everybody's going to sort of like, high tide rises all ships. Everybody's going to start getting savvy to this stuff. So it's a race, right? You guys, the guys that are not doing it, or when you're in a marketplace where no one's doing it well, you better race your ass to be the guy that's doing it and doing it right. Mm-hmm. If you're not, you're gonna get left in the dust.
And I feel like it's very crucial for branding, because what is branding? Branding's basically the customer's perception of you. They might not get the branding just from going on Google and searching, but Google's so important because you want those people that know what they want. So you want those people, but they're not necessarily warmed up to you. If you build a big audience on social media and they get warmed up to you, now it's not really a cold lead anymore. And it's a good way to get your prices up and not be so competitive, because when they're buying from you because they like you, they like their content, and they resonate with you.
Totally agree. I mean, let's face it. Let's talk about the challenges side. The challenges side is that it's a lot of damn work, and a lot of guys don't want to put that time in, don't want to get put that grind in, and it almost in the beginning it doesn't seem fruitful, right? Like it takes time to build up steam. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. You have to trust the process and do it, and just put your head down and grind and get it done. There's no way around hard work to succeed. I just in my lifetime, maybe I feel like sometimes I'm the whipping boy and I do everything the hard way, but it is what it is, I'll keep breaking bones and changing out joints until I get to where I need to be. And it's easier for some guys, but for all of you out there listening, there is no way to swap out. There's no cheat. There's no way to race this thing or speed it up or cut corners. It's just hard damn work and grinding and just putting it in. Because like Tim just said, the audience sees it. Your marketplace sees it. They're like, wow, this guy's relentless. He's just everywhere. He's always doing jobs, and it's always the photo shoots are always in a new location. Yeah, because you put in the hard work and you turn the camera on and you remembered to do it, and then you cleaned it up a little bit and then posted it. And yes, it's work, but it makes all the difference.
They do have VAs, virtual assistants. I got quoted the other day for like $6 an hour, minimum of 20 hours a week. So it's $120. You could get them to edit videos for you. You could get them to post on social. I don't know how you could get an assistant any cheaper.
Yeah, that sounds very reasonable.
Yeah, but there's ways to take time away from it, so it's not all you doing it. But it's very imperative that you do it.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, just cutting it into your normal day, right? Like making habits of it. I try to do it where when I pull up on a job site, the first thing I do is grab my phone, turn on the camera. Whether I start shooting right then and there is one thing, but I have the camera open. I walk around quick, talk to my guys, take a look at what's going on. If there's something I see that is artistic or looks nice, or I got a good camera angle, or they're doing something cool, I'll shoot it. And my drainage business is growing in leaps and bounds. And I'm on that. I'm wearing the shirt right now. I was in the field this morning, and I have another 2 sales calls this afternoon. I'm pushing that business. I have staff that runs the gutter business. So admittedly, I'm not on gutter jobs just because I've been doing this 20 years in, The drainage is big, high ticket, and it's a bit more complex. So they need my head on these jobs. But you guys see, I'm always, if you're on my Instagram, any of my pages, constant video. Somebody's jetting a drain, somebody's laying down Coltech chambers, there's a machine digging a hole. It's just cool stuff. People like to see it. And again, I'm just in the back of their brain, I'm that guy. They might not need me today, but in 2 months when they need me, there I am. He's still in the back of their brain,
I noticed earlier because I was looking at one of your videos on there. You got a massive following.
I do.
Instagram, yeah, it's huge.
So
I'm still trying to get over 600.
Well, what I've figured out, and you don't figure it out, you just kind of stumble into it. But if you play with the camera and you capture something really cool, and you get I'll catch these viral runs where I'll make a video and I make Instagram reels, and then I'll get like this 5 million, 6 million view viral run. I'm like, it's mind blowing. And it's fun as hell. It's like I'm going fishing. I'll catch it. I'll send it to my friends. They're like, oh, crap. Like, what the hell's going on? And, of course, my staff loves it. But it's stuff like that. You got to get good video. It's almost like the artistic sense of it is what works. It's not the actual work itself. There was a guy, I don't even know who it is. Maybe you remember the name, Tim. He's probably going to watch this and chime in on the thread when you see this. It's on the tip of my tongue, but he was cleaning a gutter. He's running around on the roof.
The guy with the fingers.
Yes, he just kind of scanned the length of the gutter. Was full of leaves. He pulled out a clump of crap at the outlet, and then the gutter immediately started to drain and shoot out at the ground. And that video's got like 20 million views or something.
Yeah,
so it
that
could be.
blew up.
I mean, don't kill yourself taking video on a roof, but do fun stuff like that, and it's amazing what takes,
People like watching processes. Like the very first TikTok I ever posted was just me running some half-round gutter out. I didn't even say anything in it, and I got a couple thousand views, and that was like the first thing I ever posted. So, yeah, they love processes. I think it's the water that did it.
So I don't have the patience for it, and, one of my guys and I strategize on this stuff. I've heard like on Instagram and stuff, if you don't hit the algorithm and it doesn't take, if you have a good video, like something that really should run and get views, if it doesn't take, delete it after 10 minutes and then try it again the next day. And it's just that window of time you post. Who knows what the algorithm really is, but if you have a winner, I'll post it because I have 5, 6 different Instagram pages depending on my brands. I'll post one on my general, the Greenwich Contractor. That's like my personal fun Instagram page, and then I have pages for my brands. But I'll post like a sick video on my page, and it gets like 500 views or something, and it kind of just fizzles out. But then I'll post it on one of my brands, which generally doesn't get a lot of views, and then it'll run. I'll get 10,000 views in a day. So you never know. You got to keep playing with it. Again, it doesn't have to be the strategy because that takes a lot of time and energy, but you have to be posting at a minimum, and you have to be doing it regularly. I mean, everybody I go to right now, in my doesn't matter if it's roofing, rain gutters, drainage, if I show up and I'm doing this sale, because I'm generally in most of our videos, they're like, oh, you're famous. Like the homeowner already knows they already know who I am. And it's not a direct plug-in like that where I'm like, oh, I know they're seeing it. It's just they're looking at social media. They might be quiet, laying back in the cut, hiding in the woodwork, but they're seeing this stuff. And when you get to the house for something that they need, they'll tell you right away, oh my God, I have a celebrity at my house. I'm like, cool. I know I'm doing the right thing by doing all of that legwork on the video. I mean, I'm 40, 45%. I'm not cheap, but usually if I get a no, they're like, I'll get a email like this: we love you, but we just can't afford you, and we know you're the, it sounds so corny, but it's not just me, it's a whole team here, and every step of the way we give them the right touch, and I know we gave them the right treatment, and it's whether at the end of the day with drainage, I mean, some of these jobs are $110,000, $120,000. I mean, it's cash prohibitive in most cases. I do have a very unique market with that stuff.
If you're a newer guy and if I want you to catch what Frank just said there. So I've been coaching people for over 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And people always used to brag about their closing rate. I close 90% of my jobs, right?
Yeah,
And I close almost everyone. It's not something to brag about, right? At the end of the day, your prices are too low. I'd rather you close 60, 50, 40, right?
Oh, I
So
purposely
think
dial
about
in on
that.
that 40, 45%. That's where I want to be.
Mhm.
That's strategic.
Frank is not, by all means. He's competing on value, not price, and that says everything about his business.
Yeah, correct. I mean, look, those are the clients I want anyway. Those are the clients any of you guys should want, because they are happy to have you doing the work the right way. They're not like, hurry, 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 get out of here. No value in what you're doing. It's just something they have to have on their house to catch water. They could care less about it. Just give me the cheapest, the white, just get out of here. No, I don't want to do work like that. I go home, I don't feel good about myself, And they're the worst clients anyway.
My nicest customers have always been the highest ticket item.
It's always that way, right? It's amazing.
Like I'll get a guy that was doing a $110,000 copper job, and the most humble, down to earth guy walking around giving you drinks all day.
It's the best. That's where I like to stay. And so I do everything like John's saying on the front side, as far as who my demographic is, who we're strategically building ads for, what zip codes we're running them in, what my price point is, how I deliver that. They're getting me. I'm showing up at the house. I also PM the installs too, but the bigger ones. But it's all strategy. It's where we want to be. So moving along, let's keep moving, because we got a lot to talk about. Importance of coaching and education. That's something that we noted we wanted to talk about. That's trending right now. I don't care what it is. If you're in the fitness world, right, you want to get a 6-pack, an 8-pack, there's fitness coaches. There's a lot of business coaches. There's a lot of gurus in self-improvement, Ed Milet and Brad Lee, and this is certainly something that's trending. No different in our industry. Tim, John, you guys are doing a wonderful job. We do quite a bit of coaching here too. I've had plenty of companies fly in, do the gutter school thing. I put that on pause, the physical training, and now I'm really jazzed and hyper-focused on sales and marketing. That's what I want to push through Gutter School. As soon as GutterApp launches, and we'll talk about GutterApp in a little bit, but I'm so buried in pushing that and bringing that to life like Dr. Frankenstein, that I've let a lot of things sort of, not slip, but I had to put them on ice, put them on pause, because there's only so much I could touch in a day. You guys are killing it with the coaching. Tim, tell us about how it's going. Are you getting everything out of gutter growth you thought you would in these first couple of months? And what's your feedback on the guys out there, the industry, and what's needed?
Yeah, no, it's doing great. We're coming up on our 4th meet, so we're starting to get the swing of things.
Nice.
Yeah, the guys love it. We've had a few guys, especially in the small group, that have gotten like just a ton of results. Like one guy came back and he had 7 contractors the next month, went from having 2 days of work, now he's like booked. He's like a month out.
Awesome.
So we've had some success. All the guys are loving it. And it's a lot of fun, and it's about just gaining more knowledge. Even me, I'm still taking courses right now on my own to learn more, and then I bring that to the group. So it's just, we're all collectively, it's a collective intelligence that you get in a mastermind.
I love it. John, you plug it in on those too?
I'm in on it, Frank. I'm in on it. I can tell you that my strength is like I'm all about holding people accountable because I've been doing it for a while, and I can say it doesn't matter how good you are, how good you think you are. If you call your shot and you're never really making it happen, it's just all talk. It's like the name of the game is like Tim's got his skill sets. Like I can't touch anything. That's his that he knows that world so well.
Right.
But in my world, it's like you've got to call your shot, right? Like let's move the needle week after week and let's hold you accountable because accountability changes everything.
Totally. So, again, I'm 20 years in as an entrepreneur. I could tell you, I would go back like 12 years ago, and I was using a business coach. Not gutter specific. This is what's so interesting about what you guys are pulling off here, is that it's industry specific. I was using a business coach that, and he did a great job, but it was learn your numbers, learn how to market, how to structure the business, it was all numbers driven. It really was heavy math, just understanding with money coming in, what buckets should all that money be getting put into and to what extent. You don't want to overspend or over leverage. And so I got a real good sense of how to read a P&L, how to read a balance sheet, how to know where my numbers needed to be. And then from there, you pivot and you make some strong moves. Coaching, a lot of it is learning, understanding, and the fundamentals and the numbers. But then a lot of it too is, I think, is building up your self-confidence and daring to try, daring to put yourself out there or get the confidence up to try a new brand or tap a new market. It's a little bit of everything, and I'm glad you guys are doing this, and I'm sure you're bringing a lot of, to lean on you, not only just as a coach, but it's like you're industry specific. The pitfalls of the industry. It's invaluable. So for you guys out there that are trying to make your way or gain some confidence and some footing, I'm sure there's a lot here with Tim and John. So dial in, take a look at it. Absolutely. It's very important.
To have you co-sign, man, it means a lot. At the end of the day, it's like, Tim's a straight shooter, so am I, and I know you are as well. It's like,
totally
pour your heart into this. There's no bullshit. Like, figure this. Like, if we don't know, we're gonna work to figure out the answer, right? If Tim's been through so many scenarios that it blows my mind that he knows half the things he says. I'm like, it's unbelievable, but people are getting breakthroughs left and right. That's for sure. It's cool to witness.
And let's face it too, as an entrepreneur, I mean, even you might have your wife or your significant other dialed in too, but as they say, it's a lot of times a lonely road for the entrepreneur. You kind of feel like you're on your own separate island, and it's nice to have this team away from home that is doing the same thing, knows the plight, knows the pain. You could bounce problems off of. A lot of times it's just problem solving, right? Like, I have this issue. Maybe it's an employee issue or client issue, but to have somebody to help guide you and you don't feel like you're all alone trying to figure it out. You and Google, right? You're not just trying to, these days you're Googling answers, and it's like your stomach hurts and you start Googling stomach pain. You go in the wrong direction. You're reading nightmares, like someone's got to keep you on track and make sure you're not scaring the shit out of yourself.
And that's the thing. They have the support of not only me and John, but they have the support of all the group members. I'm available all the time. So it's not just a mastermind meeting. Like every day I'm having conversations with these guys. They're in my inbox. So I try to help them out all month long. So they get the support and they get the group.
And I see a lot of the names that are in that group. So I know you have a good crew there. A lot of the guys are solid. Coaching and education, we touched on. GutterApp, I want to just kind of give you guys an update on GutterApp. I get messages all the time, all day. I got to say, I'll tell you, I'll give you cut right to it and just tell you straight from the heart where I am with this thing. It's been an act of passion. It was something I knew I always needed to do, and I'm in it. I'm at the 2-yard line at this point. But it has been brutal. It has been brutal because I have so much going on. I have multiple businesses, I have young kids, and I have a team that I brought in to help me launch and get this GutterApp off the ground. But I'm excited in the sense that we kind of really stuck to our guns and we trusted our instincts and our hearts on this, and nothing was, we should have been live 4 months ago, but we just didn't have the product we wanted. We put it on the scale and we went, it's not ready yet. It's just not ready yet. It's like a sculptor, They put the sculpture away for a little bit, walk away, and then they come back in a month. Not that we ever stopped. This has been a constant grind, but you just keep chiseling and whittling away and carving, and we're trying to get it right. And just to kind of frame it, this is the most interesting thing about this software build. There's so many software products out there right now. There's so many options. We hear the same, once a day somebody posts on one of these gutter threads, hey, what's the best software out there? And then bing, 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 you hear all the same names 100 times. And then the next day you hear the same cycle of names. Look, I have probably 7 or 8 different pieces of software my company runs on. I have Jobber in-house, I have Company Cam, I have Pictometry, I have endless. I have probably 8 different things I pay a monthly fee or an annual subscription for. But what I know, and what's interesting with these Facebook forums and groups, and for you guys out there listening to this, there's so many of you, I've studied this, I know who you are, that are just watching and listening, but not talking. And it's okay. There's a lot of big mouths on here, I understand, I'm one of them. There's a lot of big mouths that, do all the talking for you, but you guys are watching and you're reading, and you feel like you are the silent minority, but let me tell you something, you're the silent majority. The big mouths are outliers. I'm one of them. I do $3 million plus, $4 million a year with my brands. My drainage business is growing in leaps and bounds. I don't even know. The fall's starting to look wet. Who knows where we'll end up at the end of the year, but there's so many. The silent minority, or silent majority, are you guys that are doing a couple $100,000 a year. You know how to install. You could install gutter. Could you be better? Sure, but you're getting it done. You're working with your brother, or you're working with your best buddy, or maybe you're working with your girlfriend or your wife. You're getting it done, but you don't do the social media thing. You don't chirp on Facebook groups. Totally fine. You guys are sucking a lot of good things out of these groups. There's a lot of great stuff that's shared. But what I want you to know is, I understand that these software options out there are way too robust for you, and that's what we came to terms with when we did our homework and we studied the demographic. Is that you guys don't need inventory control. You're not that big. You don't have these problems. You don't have 5 trucks on the road. You don't have 3. You have 1. All you need to do right now, let's take baby steps. Right now, what you need to do is sell better. You need to convert more sales. So you need software that lets you sell better. You need to, back to what John was talking about with conversion ratio, let's sell more jobs. Let's improve our sales process. So that's what GutterApp is. I pared away all these features, and I still get hammered all day. GPS and calendaring, and we'll get there, all right? I mean, maybe that's for like the 10%ers, that you guys that are doing $1 million plus. You need, maybe GPS and, certainly calendaring. The guys that are doing a couple 100,000, they want to hit 500,000. And then when they hit 500,000, they want to break $1 million, right? That's like, I remember when I was a kid, right? And $1 million was like a pipe dream to me. I'm like, one of these days, and then all of a sudden it was like I doubled. Actually, I bought out a partner. I started the business with a partner. I bought him out in my 9th year, and we did like 830,000 that year together. The very next year, on my own, I did 1.6 mil. On my own, doing all the sales and all the management of the project. So it's systems, it's just getting things in place. But GutterApp really is for the small guy, the guy that really is trying to take the right steps. You don't need all these intricate bells and whistles. We're letting you present better. We're letting you showcase products better. We're letting you transact with credit cards, possibly for the first time ever. Maybe you don't take credit cards. You want to sell more? You need to take credit cards. Sure, take those cash jobs, whatever you're doing. You think you got it all figured out, but you need the option to have credit cards for that that homeowner that wants to put it on plastic. Like, why would you leave that sale? It all adds up at the end of the year. Contracts. Let's stop getting beat on contracts. Let's stop getting beat on money. So many slick willies out there that'll give you a deposit and then try to beat you on the backside because they know you don't have a legally binding contract. So these are the things we're tackling with GutterApp. We're so excited. George leads the charge. He's head of development, and our programmers are in India. It's national holidays, Independence Day. So they've been out of work yesterday and today, but you got a meeting in the morning, George. What are we out? 3 weeks now? 4 weeks? Something like that? We made some amazing changes and edits and add-ons. I'm stoked to show you guys what they are, but yeah, we got to turn it over to Apple Store, and then it's kind of out of our hands. They could take 2 days and approve it and say go live, or they could take 5 weeks. I don't think it's going to be 5 weeks, but hopefully they sit on it for a week or something, and then they green light it. But we're all set up with them as vendors, and yeah, we're only a few weeks away. I'm hoping like first week of September we're green lit.
Big deal, man. Congrats.
I'll tell you, see these eyeballs, man. We've been killing it over here.
I think with the numbers that I came up with, out of all the applicants, we had a couple hundred applicants apply to Gutter Growth.
Yeah.
I think like 65% of them were doing under $250,000. So I think you nailed it on where everybody's at. I think that the majority of people need something simple.
You know what? Let's start there as a community, and then we'll grow it together. You guys tell us what you want. We're going to continuously develop, so we just keep moving it to later versions. That being said, I want to hear from you guys. Leveraging technology. Obviously, our goal here is to give these guys a sales tool, let them sell better. What kind of technology can you guys talk about that you think needs to be integrated, or especially now with coaching, stuff that you're kind of surprised they're not using that you really are now saying, hey, you have to have this type of stuff in-house?
So the first thing that comes to mind is do the lowest hanging fruit. Don't overthink it. So if I always look at things from like a data-driven perspective rather than going from your gut. So if somebody knows predictably that they're going in the slow season, you can cut that curve. You can flatten that curve by injecting software, by injecting SMS blasts, right? Going after a simple text message to your current customer base, right? And monetizing those customers that you worked hard to acquire, right? Like something like Mrs. Jones, we're going to be in your neck of the woods. Is there anything we can do while we're in that area? We can give you 20% off since we don't have to bill for travel. It's like that is like the easiest way to inject business into your system, leverage technology, and keep your team busy. So right off the bat, my mind goes right to software, SMS software, email app. Everybody should be getting out a monthly newsletter. If you're not keeping your finger on the pulse of your customer. A lot of people say, I don't want to bother customers with email. That's the wrong paradigm. People want to see it. They want to be involved in your brand. They want to know what your family's up to. They want to see how you're growing. Like, create that environment, right? And my last piece of advice in terms of software, inject ringless voicemails. It's so easy and it's so cheap.
Such a fire solution on that.
It's so easy. It's so easy. And you just click, it's called, or a voicemail broadcast if you guys want to Google it. And ultimately, it's like you're just creating a quick recording, just like the text, and you're deploying it to 200 people and you're in a specific zip code. Just like, you're not going to be slow. So in terms of technology, text, email, and ringless voicemail right off the rip.
Just to elaborate on what John's saying, the first thing that comes to mind, bouncing off John's idea, is if you're going to send text messages or ringless voicemails to your whole customer base, I'm thinking clean outs, leaf guards. I mean, how many jobs have you done that they haven't put any leaf guard on? Right. But now a year or two's gone by, they've already paid a guy to clean it out 3 or 4 times. Maybe it was you, maybe it was the handyman, but they're getting tired of cleaning it out,
Totally
so that's what comes to mind for me. I think that you could capitalize easily on the people you already have. And even if it's not you getting their business again, you're reminding them of you, and their neighbor might need it, or their brother or sister, and you're top of mind. So they're gonna refer you when you're top of mind.
So I totally agree. I use all these technologies in-house. My staff utilizes it. One thing I just want to leave the group with, or our audience with, my 2 cents on that is hire guys like John and Tim to help you, because if you get into, like we use Hatch, there's different technologies you could use for automation, right? On SMS, emails. You could majorly F that up too. If you don't massage it and spend the time to set it up the right way, you could totally irritate your audience. And they're like, what the hell? You just quoted me 2 days ago and now you're on top of me and you sent me a message the other day. There's an art and a strategy, and the technologists, these third parties that have this software, they tell you they have it all figured out. They don't necessarily have it all figured out. So don't trust their templated strategies. You have to take it on and massage it yourself. And I'm sure, Gutter Growth could help you there.
Frank, what do you do to be proactive with that?
We do newsletters. I keep on the staff in the office to try to do it routinely. We generally do have a nice routine, but they slip in our busy seasons when we're slammed. I find that they tend to really go heavy on it in the spring and the fall. And it's usually revolving around gutter cleanings. And we do thousands of gutter cleanings. So in the spring, when we're coming out of that slow winter, because I'm in New England, it slows down, it gets cold and everything freezes up. They're trying to chase and juice sales volume. So that's a great way to do it. Just spring, just like spring cleaning concept for, the general pop, especially up in New England. It's like once the snow thaws out, time to clean the house, good time for power washing, good time for gutter cleaning. So we do keep a tight rhythm. Hatch we utilize all the time. So in sync with Jobber, when a quote goes out, we then follow up with Hatch, and there's texts and emails. And I'll tell you what, and because I from 30,000 feet, I check my staff on this. That stuff converts, and I don't know whether it's irritating some people or it just pushes somebody to say yes. People do, after 2 or 3 of those nudges, they do respond, and then my staff's right there and they're having a conversation, and then it'll convert to a follow-up or a sale. It'll just be like, okay, yeah, come do the job. Let's get a contract together. So that stuff does work, and it's just, people think 5% here and there doesn't add up, but there's synergy between 5% 3 times. It's like a 30% change.
And you're keeping people in your fold. You're making loyal customers, right? At the end of the day, people staying in your fold.
You stayed in their ear. Sometimes you need 7-8 touches to get a sale, right? You gotta be a bee buzzing in their ear. They forget about you in 2 seconds.
And especially if you're in gutter business, which is known for a lot of one-off services, I tell everybody I coach, get after turning your business, transform your business into a maintenance contract business, right? Into a residual recurring model. That's where the real value is coming in your company. When I sold my business, the guy who bought it his mind was blown. I had so many maintenance contracts set up in a pressure washing business, right? And I mean, if you're in their space, like you're sitting on a gold mine if you're able to unpack that and implement it.
Then we could have another podcast on that alone. I mean, there's a strategy to maintenance, and it's a different side of the business. Most guys are used to just point and shoot, get a job, knock it out, and then they don't think they're going to ever see that customer again. Maintenance, you have to be a good communicator. You have to have technology in place to stay on top of this stuff, and then you better have credit card processing, because all these things you automate most of this stuff. Just in the sake of time, I want to keep moving. I want to get into the George had put out on a Facebook post about some Q&A stuff. George, are you able to bring that up to the screen, maybe? Yeah. Cool. So we did have, I think it was Will Johnson had a few really solid questions. I thought if we dive into there and maybe we just all plug in and give a few answers to his questions. I'm going to read it out loud, but we do have it on the screen. I'm cutting right to it. He's questioning, I guess he's in a tight market. He's in a Dallas-Fort Worth market, DFW. He's curious how we recommend selling when he's got a lot of competition selling for $4 a foot. He's trying to get $6 a foot. He's wondering how to do it. What's the strategy? He's trying to get a few more $100 more than the next guy, but how do you get around that? That's his first question. I won't even read his other two. Let's see what we could do on this. Let me jump in first. I'd like to give my 2 cents on this. I think it's a great question. I preach on this all the time in private communication with you guys all over the country. Call me, email me, message me, and ask me my opinion on stuff just like this. For me, it's simple. Why you try to get $2 more? Try to get triple. How come you're not getting $12 or $15 a foot? Forget about the guys at $4 a foot. If you're trying to get $2 more, you're still actually competing with him. To me, shatter it. Go for 3 times. You're going to get the people that value what you do. The only way you're going to do it, just a couple quick pointers. One is you need a product that's unique. We try to find products that, if everybody's commoditized the market with 5-inch K-style gutter, or even now 6K is becoming commoditized, get something else. Get another machine that creates another profile. Don't get something outrageous and wonky that isn't going to sell well, but maybe like a residential size box gutter that has a really nice, sleek look to it. Most guys won't splurge another 20 grand to get another machine. They're only going to run their 5K, 6K. So if you have something that's different, makes you stand out, or get skilled with half round and really become an artist with installing that, offer something your competition doesn't. It sounds so simple, but most guys get lost in the sauce and they don't see that. The other thing is value, build value. And that's all in your website, all your marketing content, how you present. You better have videos of yourself, just like I'm talking to this camera right here. You better have videos on YouTube endlessly so that your local service market sees you and you speaking on and pontificating on how you add value to your projects. You need to build a brand that is totally stand out, sticks out like a sore thumb. You're the obvious answer for them, and then it just becomes, can I afford them? But hopefully all your reasons and all your value add line items are there to tip the scale so that when it's time to write that check, they're like, all right, I'm in. Like, even the warranty looks good. Like, I know Tim's going to be there behind that gutter. I'm all in. I'll pay up. And honestly, look, DFW. Is there a BMW dealership in the DFW area? Is there a Porsche dealership? Do they sell Ferraris there? I bet your sweet ass they do. And so you have all kinds of consumers. You have consumers that value nothing and they buy the Pinto. And then you got guys that walk into BMW dealerships and buy BMWs. I choose to build my brand where I'm selling BMWs in the rain gutter space. I'm selling Ferraris. There'll be enough people that walk through my doors that I make up for it on margins. I don't have to run 5 gutter jobs a day. That's my 2 cents. I'll pass the baton. John, what do you say?
I say you got to build a world-class brand. You have to think like a 9-figure HVAC owner. Just like Frank said, why compete for a couple bucks more? Like, really build value behind your brand. Build something really special that is where your flyers match your trucks match your uniforms match your website. Like, put the perception out there. If Mrs. Jones sees that perception, she's going to start to understand, like, wow, this company looks a little expensive, but considering that they're going up on a ladder or they're going on my roof and they're doing pretty expensive work, I really want to hire the best in class business. So if you're looking to raise your prices, like, build that value behind your brand, be able to fit.
Tim, we got 5 minutes. What do you say?
John, I remember when I was building my brand, you're like, Tim, you got to build reviews. You got to build reviews. You got to build reviews. And then we came up with a system where I was calling the people a week after, finding out how they liked the service, and that built the reviews. They liked the service, great. Asked them for a review. If they had an issue, now I have a chance to fix it. And believe it or not, a lot of these people aren't going to tell you when they have issues. You think they will, but they don't always. So that follow-up call, you'll find that out. It gets them happy. You're building a better reputation. So reputation has a lot to do with it. When they call 3 companies, one company's got 150 or 200 reviews, and the other 2 both got 5 reviews, they don't care about the $2 difference.
Right.
They're now using you because of your brand. And the same thing, I think that we need to get more into social media marketing, building your brand, letting people know who you are. This way they're buying from you, and it's not just about who's the cheapest price. So I think Frank nailed it. John nailed it. You got to.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Tim may not really remember it. I pushed him so hard on building his review system out that I actually had somebody in my office
Uncle
calling
Steve.
every single one of his customers, right? It was my
Awesome.
uncle, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Steve would call up
Get
and
those
say, hey,
reviews.
Zach, that's how much I believe this 10 years ago. And here we are, right? He got the price tag on his business because the perception. Somebody came at the table and said, I want to buy your online presence. So, I have trucks, I want to buy this, right?
Right.
And the only 2 cents I throw out there is don't be afraid to get away from the mindset of offering Mrs. Jones a good, better, best option, right? Nobody wants an ultimatum. So it's not like, do you want this car? It's, do you want the car in white or black? Right? Give them an option, and you're going to start to see your perception is that perception that you're putting out there. Mrs. Jones likes that buying cycle.
It's a good point,
And
John.
another thing that I just want to elaborate more on what Frank said, offer more stuff. Half round. I had the most profiles in Florida, besides maybe 2 companies that were more into manufacturing than installs. So I got into the half round. I had 6-inch, 8-inch, got into D style, European style. I was the second company in Florida that had the European box.
Cool.
Right after I got that and started marketing it, there was one company that had it before me, but they really didn't know how to market it. You went to the website, you didn't even know they had it. So I don't know how they were selling it. But once I started really pushing that, now all of a sudden, like 10 companies started doing it. I thought it was a problem at first because my competition's getting it, but they made it more popular for me, and we're all getting higher margins on it.
Right.
So if you get into like the half round, the more custom stuff that not everybody's doing, you could definitely charge 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times the amount that you're getting for K style. I mean, I was selling copper at $7,500 a foot, and even the European box, you're running 15-inch coil. You're running it just through a different machine, but just because it's a different profile, you could get a few more dollars a foot for it for that.
Sure. Yeah, you just got to dare to be different, right? You got to put a new look on a new facet on the business, do something different. Everybody's so plain vanilla, and they're scared to like step out and stick their neck out and build a brand and a unique image. And just do it, guys. It's a lot of work, but it pays off. It's the only way. And trust me, when you get that recognition, nothing feels better than that. You're like, wow, I do have something here. I mean, this is, I think this is the beginning of a lot to come. Tim and I have been strategizing. John, you and I too. We've had a few chats on what could come. I think this is a synergy here, right? This cohort here. There's no competition. We're all unique individuals. I have things that I bring to the table that's very, very unique of the group, and each one of us has the same. So if we pull it together, we could really change. That's the other thing too. I'm like the change the world type of guy. I'm old now, right? I want to make my mark on this industry and help these guys out. I really do. I want to see. It's the renaissance for the rain gutter industry. It's our time. I really feel it, and technology is helping that, but it's also good people like you two that are plugging in and are willing to put the work first, and then, obviously we're monetizing this, we're in business, we're B2B guys, but help people first, and I think we're all doing that. That's really what stands out here in this group, is that you guys, you put the work in, and we talk about it later, and I can't wait to start synergizing together on the coaching side, on the school side. That's really, and Tim and I talked about this. I'll put it out there for the public. John, you and I talked about this as well. Gutter school. I can't do it all. I'll be your sales professor. I'll tell you how to sell at the front door and how to turn into a chameleon and sell to anybody. But I need these two guys to come in and teach some classes too. And, Tim's going to come in talking about gutter growth and plug himself and do a service to the audience. And John, just the same. His marketing prowess is bar none, and there's a lot here. If we could put it together, we could level up the game for a lot of you guys out there. So that's what we're doing here. You guys are in agreement with me?
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but when I learn a new subject, I don't learn from one guy. I learn from every single body I can, everybody possible.
Right.
So that's kind of why we created the mastermind, so we have a collective of people, not just this is how it is.
I love it.
You're a supercomputer. By yourself, you're a PC. Together, you're a supercomputer. You're going to charge a lot faster, a lot harder. right?
Good analogy. I love it. All right, well, let you guys get back to business. The next thing we need to do is line up the next podcast, really.
Yeah, let's do it.
Pick a day and a time, and we'll talk on some subjects, and we'll make it happen. Looking forward to it.
Love it.
Sounds good.
Frank, thanks for having
You
me.
well, guys. See you at
See
the
you
youth
guys.
convention, both of you, right?
I'll be there.
All right, we'll be there.
See you
We'll hang.
there.
I'll see you there.